I'm very excited to have you here, guys. Celine, Ferhat, welcome to the podcast, and it's great to have you here. I will start with my first question. What surprised you most recently in the EV world or EV charging world?
Okay. I think how cheap the charging is. I was just charging my car actually heading here, and I paid around like $25 to fully charge the vehicle, and heard one of my friends recently paid around $70 to just gas like his vehicle. So I think that's like the last thing that surprised me, like the prices. So,
Yeah. So a lot of people are saying the current administration is not really good for EV world, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Like when we look at
Wait and see.
sales, wait and see.
Yeah.
What about you, Farhad?
I'm going to the vehicle part a little bit more than the charging part because I'm a big fan of the new cars and the new models make in the world right now, and seeing a different cars into the our world, which means for example Rivian R2 just launched and they get out the cars from the factory a couple of days ago, and I'm so excited to see more in this year.
Excellent. Well, if you had to describe what Bluedot does from someone outside of the EV and EV charging world, how would you do that?
When you drive a gasoline vehicle, you go to a gas station and then you swipe your card and pay. Like that's it. You go to BP, Chevron, whatever it is. But when you have an electric vehicle, you drive to a charging station and you need to juggle with multiple different apps, cards, systems. And imagine you have thousands of vehicles that you own or operate. And the problem becomes a lot harder. And that's what we solve at Bluedot. Like we help enterprise vehicle fleets to run their charging operations so that their drivers can go anywhere. They can charge peace of mind. And the fleet managers can see what's happening in their fleet, what's their battery level, when they charge, what was the cost. So that peace of mind is what we're providing them so that they don't need to kind of go over and then juggle with all these different apps and cards and systems.
I love the explanation, but before we deep dive into Bluedot, let's go back in time. And Ferhat, I really want you to explain or tell us the story, how you guys met.
Oh, we should go back in the time because we met in high school.
Oh, really?
Yes. When we were 14, 15, we were competing, each of us, into the competition of the National Science Fair. We were the competitor in the ecosystem, but we were in the different vertical. I was focusing on the biology. She was focusing on the psychology and the different social science. And we were just talking about the different stuff around the high school competition and the other stuff. And we connected after the high school. We went to the different college. We went to the different vertical at the same time. But we were connected to talk about the startup ecosystem and what's going on in the college. How is your life going in in your area? And we were joining the hackathons together and separately too. When I was struggling about some startup hackathons, and I was just calling the Celine to get the idea, because all the time she has an idea in her mind, and she was trying to separate all the problems on the table, and she was helping me. And we met from high school, and after that we connected. And when I was in the Zip car, I was trying to build some things again, and we were talking about let's build something together in the automotive ecosystem, because we worked for the different car companies.
We won the Mercedes-Benz hackathon. We won the hackathon for Renault. Actually, we went to France together.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We were the first people to touch the Tavisi at the Renault.
Okay.
And we built the best pitch and the project in the Renault. And after that, we said, we can work together.
We did a lot of different projects for car companies. And then the thing is, if we were in the game, I think people would know that we would win. We were kind of that group of people that will just win all the hackathons for car companies. And then that's where we started realizing a lot of problems around EV charging and electrification. And at that time, especially in Europe, you get to see so much efforts around, how we can increase the number of EVs. And it was also we're from Turkey, and it was our way to go to Europe, work with these companies. So we find it quite fascinating. And at the same time, like I feel like I always wanted to go out of Turkey and then do something bigger. And like Ferhat introduced me to electric vehicles in the first place. And I was like, wow, these are the perfect chances to do that. So
back in the time, European car companies was going faster than the US ones, for sure. Because back in the time, Tesla was not super fast and not big fancy company. Rivian was not there. But when you look at the Renault, Mercedes, Audi, everyone was taking the risk to do the some things. And it was a great time to start some things at the hackathons that we did when I was in the college. And after that, of course, our business and the work life helped us to understand enterprise life. For example, Zipcar helped me a lot to understand how can I sell, how can I build some things in the different companies. But for sure, our friendship starts some things to build the startup. And after that, we put everything on the top.
That's a fascinating story. So can we say that that maybe hackathon in Paris was one of the triggers for you guys to work together?
Yeah, that was one of them. We did so many different projects, and then we would literally just we had a lot of different ideas around EV charging, which we actually tried to build too, but we were in college, so it was always like an hackathon or project type of thing. And I think the biggest trigger was I think right after college we're we want to do this we want to go all in. We see a potential here. And then that was the time that, okay, we're actually going to go all in and do it.
So you, Ferhat, took the CEO role and you took the COO. So how did it work between you guys? Was it natural? Was it a debate? Who wants to lead? Who wants to focus on what? What was the decision-making process and the deal between you guys?
I think it happened more naturally. When we first met, I think he was the main person to take, you were the main project lead type of thing. And then that's why we assumed that, okay, he's going to be the CEO. And then I'm not the CTO, so I would be the COO. I think initially we had a lot of overlaps. We did fundraising together. We did so many things together. And then I think after year two, once we start finding the product market fit type of thing, repeatability, I think I started owning more a go-to-market side of the things. And then I think looking at last year, he was fully in product strategy. I'm making sure whatever we're building makes sense for customers. And then he's making sure that we're building in the pace that we want and then serving customers with the best product and then the roadmap and then the team. So that's kind of how we started separating roles. But I think there were a lot of overlaps in the beginning, and then it kind of evolved, and then we started to understand what are our main areas of work.
Winter 2023, the moment.
Yeah,
you guys were accepted to Y Combinator, big thing. Congratulations, by the way. So it never goes away. It always stays on your chest, on your LinkedIn account. So that's amazing. Walk me through the application process, interview process. What went right? Why do you think you were selected? Tell me more.
Of course, first of all, YC was a milestone for my personal life too, because as an immigrant founder from the outside of the US, everything is so hard to start from the scratch without anyone around you. And YC helped me to understand everything on the startup life. But application and the interview was...
I remember.
It was super fast.
Yeah, it was quite fast. But it was not our first time applying. We applied and the different versions of Bluedot quite a few more times before. I think the reason that we got in is because I think around YC process, people don't talk a lot about this, but one of the most important thing is not your idea, how you express your idea. Someone is reading that application, it needs to be crystal clear. You shouldn't write a book when you're applying. And we wrote some books in our previous applications.
Absolutely.
So I think that's really important. And I recommend everyone who's applying YC, just making sure that they write in the format that is easy for people to read. And there are so many different tools and the resources around that right now. And I think our last application, we started getting feedback from the people who got into YC before us. I always tell my friends too, if you are applying, send it to me before, let me give it a read, and then let's clear from a third person perspective. So I think that was really helpful. And then, the YC is like really quick making process.
Application, interview, 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, they're calling at the night. We were at the hotel, like lobby to drink something. Literally, we were not at the office. We were just chatting with our friends. Was
it in person?
In SF.
In SF,
It was in Palace Hotel. Yeah, Palace Hotel. And telephone ring. And after that, she take it up and talk with our partner, like Aaron Epstein from the YC, and he said, "You accepted, guys."
Wow!
And we said,
"What a moment!
What are you talking about at the night right now?" And everybody was talking about like you will get an acceptance or rejection in the 24 hours, but we were not waiting for it. And after that, we made some decision for sure because we were raising our pre-seed while application of the YC.
We had some money already, so it was we needed to decide. But for us, I think one of the company life-changing moments for us.
Okay, so good moment. Yeah. So what actually YC changed in your lives? So you said you were staying in a hotel. Oh, yeah. I suppose you didn't really live in California or United States?
No, we were living. This was for an event. This was for an event. Yeah. We were in US that time. I think, I will answer for myself. YC gives you this school-like thing that you do with other founders with lots of intensity and ambition. And that was the reason that I actually wanted to move US. I wanted to be around people that are ambitious, that have bigger goals, that believe that they can do more than what they come to the life. So I think, but this time you're going through this process of few months with these founders, you have goals. Your goals is your own goals, but you go through a process that everybody is trying to reach out their goal, and it's really intense. We were a little bit hybrid. It was both in person, and then at the same time.
It was the first batch after the COVID.
Yeah, I wish we would be fully in person. That would have been amazing. But I think, for me personally, one was going through that process with the founder friends and creating that community. It was amazing. It was so inspiring. But at the same time, YC cuts bullshit. There's no bullshit. Hey, if it's not working, it's not working. If you're not growing, you're not growing. It's just so straightforward. And I love that element. Pivoting is a hard thing for a founder. Right? Especially for a first time founder, you go through a process, you build something, and then someone tells you.
Because we didn't have AI in our hands. We were building everything from the scratch.
It was just coming out. It was just coming out. ChatGPT just came out. I think, and then I think you accept that, actually, you should pivot. And then we internalize it so well that we were okay, we're gonna pivot until this thing just kicks and then works. And that's why we actually did full-blown B2B switch. Yeah, that was the time that we came into B2B.
Yeah, maybe I can say
you should tell us this story. Pivoting and then demo day. Obviously there is a sprint from the moment.
Absolutely, yeah. YC, in my mind, has 3 words: speed, standard, and network. Literally, speed, because they are pushing to publish everything in weekly sessions, which means if it's not working, change in a week. Don't wait for the months, years to change your idea, because program is 3 months. You don't have too much time to create something for the demo day. Standards, you're not talking anything about competition, but of course, YC has a standard to push the people to get the more investors on the table. And the network, I cannot imagine without YC in my life, because I met a lot of friends, I met a lot of investors, I met a lot of really brilliant talent from the YC. And during all of our 3 months at the demo day, it was our, as Celine mentioned, our life-changing moment, because we were focusing on the consumer before YC, at the YC too. It was our first month at the YC. We were talking about the different opportunities in the same market, and we were realizing our top customers was coming from the business, and some autonomous car companies is reaching out us to understand what's the Bluedot. And we said, why we are not thinking the different way with our partners? And we built first version of the Bluedot for business. We issued a debit card. Can you imagine? You're coming from outside of the US, coming to the US to build something's in the intersection of fintech, government, and all of the compliance, which is fintech area, and issue the like debit card for the people, click something for us during all of our 3 months. At the demo day, it was online, and before demo day, they are not publishing anything about the business, which means investors are seeing you and your pitch during the sessions, just 1 minute. Less than 1 minute.
Yeah, I remember
it was a 30 seconds or 1 minute?
No, it's 1 minute pitch.
One page. You don't have it multiple pages.
Recorded maybe at least 30, 40 times before it's okay, this is it. Yeah. But you first write your script.
Do they do that or you?
No, you record it.
You record it, so you practice, you record it.
Practicing with the partners, XYC founders, investors to get done this, to be honest. It was...
and I remember, I recorded the first version, sent it to him. He was giving me the feedback that time. And then we recorded again and again and again. And we're like, okay, this is it. And then you go through a demo day and then you start getting hundreds of emails.
Bipping emails, literally.
And you're like, okay, this person wants to meet with you. This person wants to meet with you. And then you're like, okay, I went through all these fundraising process and it was not like this. And now people are coming to you. They wanted to invest. And I think people don't talk a lot about this, but YC is yes, one community, but two is it's a way easier to raise money right after YC.
Sure.
Everybody is looking at these YC companies as the time to invest, right? I think that's one of
100%.
the it was way easier.
You are not feeling in the 3 months because they are cutting all the communication with they are recommending to cut the communication with the investor, focus on your business and the growth in this 3 months. And after 3 months, they're saying you will meet a lot of people. And I was thinking maybe 10 to 15 people because I'm coming from the Europe. It's so hard to raise in the Europe with the very high top tier VC. But after 1 minute, our email was popping. We were saying, are they real human, real people? Because they are reaching us, and we take the calls back to back. I remember, we take more than 120 calls.
Really?
With the 120 people, including angel, VC, top tier, low tier, a lot of people was trying to talk with us. And we raised our big chunk after the YC. Yeah, it was our last round, seed round, and 5.5 millions. Everybody was trying to raise in 2 months, 3 months outside of the YC that I was hearing from the different founders. But we raise and close everything in months. Because we were saying every YC partner was saying, just put the deadline. Don't focus on the investment too much. And we did. Yeah, it worked.
And I think it's probably time to actually share who are your notable investors.
Yeah, we raised 5.5 from Y Combinator, Ford Drive-In Ventures, Axel Springer and Porsche, Samsara, Operator Stack, Leap Forward. We had a lot of really good angel investor from the Plaid, Cash App, fintech fintech climate, and generalist investor was trying to invest us because we were in the between sustainability, climate, and the fintech at the same time, and we were overlapping with all the people at the same time, and we got a lot of money from the Europe too, because we were thinking after the US, our story will be in the Europe side, which means we have to feed some things in the Europe. That's why we got some money from there too. And it worked a lot. Our investors help a lot during our whole building process, acquisition process for sure. I'm so glad to work with them, to be honest.
And who is your favorite?
Oh, that's a hard question. And I'm not sure about the answer quickly.
If we would have a lead, it was more of a party round for us. So we didn't have a lead investor. That's why we did not have a favorite one. That's my answer.
Okay, I have. I will be super, super honest. Investors should be open all the time for your phone, for myself, because if I need to help, I need to call my investor right away. That was my thought in my mind all the time during the fundraising. That's why we picked the invest. We oversubscribed. We picked the people who.
You did?
Yeah,
wow.
We
that's amazing.
And I can say David Rusenko from Leap Forward was my favorite one because he was ex-founder. He sold his company to one of the biggest fintech company back in the time. He knows what is the founder life and what is the problems, what is the up and downs. It helped me a lot. And the second will be all the time for me, Berkat from Turkey. He graduated from the Stanford. He knew all the people when I was in the US, and he was trying to connect me a lot of people. And he was our first angel check. That's why he's important for my life to see the
believed in
brides.
us even before we had any product.
Before you had the third or the fourth pivot,
For sure.
Nothing. Yeah,
Okay.
he was like one of the first checks.
Yeah,
for
lots
sure.
of investors are actually saying that, especially angels, like we invest in people, and then
we felt that.
Yeah.
We glad we felt that.
All right.
We didn't feel they invested to the paper or product. And all of our CVC, it was the hardest part of my journey to get the money from the CVC, which is Ford, Porsche, or like Samsara. But they were super helpful people to put more money, to connect more people. That's why I'm super glad to.
Amazing. So YC in 2023 and then Forbes in 2024?
Yeah, we were at Forbes at 2023 as well, right?
End
Of the
year. Okay. What was that story?
We actually just learned
Got
that,
an email.
we got nominated.
She called me.
Yeah, we got nominated, and we were like, well, this is cool. Especially like when you're an immigrant founder, I think in the US it's different. There are a lot of different like stories around like Forbes, 30 under 30s and stuff, and which is also quite interesting. But I think in Europe and you're like where we're coming from in Turkey, like Forbes is a big magazine, like big medium, right? I think it's a big thing because I remember the time I had the physical magazine and I like bought multiple of those to take home and show my mom and dad. And I think like they take it, they're like, it's still on our maybe coffee table, like sitting. So I think it's a great name. Everybody knows Forbes. And I think it's great. Even like when I was closing some of the deals, like people are like, oh, you're Forbes 30 under 30. And I think knowing when to use those signals is really important. Apart from my family, my relatives, I think like for like customers and closing different sales, I think those were some of the signals that we kind of like have utilized along the way. But that's it.
Well,
like
I think Forbes for me, one day surprise, and second day you should work on your business again, which means it's giving some credibility. But I was not focusing on it. I was super happy for sure, but my mom was happier than me, because same story. Still on our coffee table, we have a Forbes 2023 magazine on the top. My mom is not a Forbes person, like Forbes target person, but she's still happy, which is I'm happy too. That's it.
Well, I think it's time to focus on your main product, on your founder journey. And you mentioned already that you actually pivoted a number of times. So what were the assumptions behind Bluedot from day one? How those assumptions evolved? And you eventually ended up in the fleet market, which is really difficult to enter and to build relationships and, actually make progress and grow. So walk us through that journey.
So our first assumption was EV charging is hard. If you are thinking about getting an EV, number one thing that you're going to think about is how I am going to charge this car. First principles, we need to help people charge. And I literally, when I first came to US, I rented an electric vehicle, sit in the charging stations, watch people, how they charge, what they do. I would call back Ferhat, tell the stories that we hear. Hey, we can build this, we can build that. Hey, people spend in their, sit in their cars, spend so much time. Maybe they can do something, We had so many different concepts and things that we started thinking about. One of the reasons that we actually issued cards was we were thinking, okay, people need to do something while charging. There could be a bigger market. And as you know, there was a company called Volta that were putting the ads to attract more people. That was really interesting. And I think it was quite futuristic for that time. When you think about the EV charging experience, you first think about the drivers. And then the drivers that we knew was consumer drivers, the end customers. I think as an outsider, people don't have that much of a visibility or understanding of what is fleet or what is this like commercial vehicle concept. People all see these commercial vehicles like the FedEx or like, Doritos, like vehicles all around. But like, I think we don't think that these are like a different vehicles or like, I think people don't have that concept. We didn't as well. Then I think right after we started like putting this app that helps people to charge their vehicles, we started realizing that most of our customers were coming from big commercial companies, or they were renters. They were driving EV. They were doing this EV driving for their work. And that was an aha moment.
I still remember when we issued our cards, one of the guy from the fleet ecosystem reached us to understand, can we use that card to all of our drivers?
Fleet.
And I was asking, what do you mean all of our drivers? And we met the fuel card business and fuel card principles via our connection. And I was saying, yes, we can do it. Normally we couldn't because it was a personal card, but we were saying we can do it with a different way. And everything started from the scratch with that conversation. And after that, I realized fleet doesn't mean trucks. Fleet doesn't mean Pepsi cars or Coca-Cola cars. Fleet means institute fleets, like rental. I was coming in from the rental and I was not thinking we can sell that business to the rental car businesses. Like we were not talking with any rental companies back in the time. Literally, like we were not thinking it's doable for the people. But when we meet with someone from the fleet ecosystem, especially internal, like institute fleets, we said, okay, let's dive a little bit more. And she started to talk and connect the people from the business to understand more. And it was our first light. After 1 year...
We started with rental. Rental was our first category that we started serving in the fleet ecosystem.
And we started with the local rental companies rather than the big ones, because big ones problem was a little bit different than the local ones. And we said, let's start with the small, and after that we can go bigger. And it worked. Literally, we were issuing the car for their drivers. We built our first MVP of the fleet OS. It was super small, like product for us. It was just showing the transaction and the charging location. That's it. And after that, we built everything on the top based on our feedback, and we shut it down our debit cards after 1.5 years because we said, okay, guys, we built really good product. We gain a lot of revenue and we gain a lot of trust from the people. But right now we are seeing more momentum from the fleet side that we have to focus on it. And we take the risk, not the risk, we take the advantage. People was know Bluedot from the consumer side because they were driving EV for their personal life. It helped a lot for us.
Yeah, I think there's also interesting thing. Currently, for a big consumer play in EV charging, I don't think there is a big potential there. Like I think there will be, but right now, consumers, they tend to change the products that they're using based on the price, and they have a high price sensitivity. That's why it's hard to keep customers sticky. And the way to do a marketplace business or charging marketplace business is like you're going to mark up something. Like that's how the marketplaces work. And if they see the markups, like they're going to churn. And I think that's like a ongoing thing that is happening in the consumer charging world. Like if there's a better price, I'm going to take the better price, basically. And I think that's something that we have faced as well.
So I do understand this kind of shift from consumer segment to the B2B segment. It's kind of fleets, but it's also, as you've already mentioned, it's like an umbrella term. So it covers different verticals, different customer segments, different types of vehicles.
For sure.
And you started with rental cars.
Yeah.
And then what did you learn in that segment that helped you to go after municipalities, utilities, mobility companies? What else? Car makers.
Exactly.
All of that. So
corporate fleets. You get to learn. It's like, I think this is like doing the B2B business. It's like you sell once and then you get a big contract, and it's quite addictive too. Like your decision maker is different. It's not the consumer. It's like you have someone that is deciding to buy this product, and then you also understand working with fleets. You also try to help their customers to be happy, who are their drivers, quote unquote. So I think we have seen that, okay, like we are selling these businesses, we started understanding what is the problem that they care about. Like they wanted to understand the charging analytics more deeply. They wanted to track the charging, understand the vehicle behavior. And then I think there was something that we could repeat because we started also seeing, okay, corporate fleets, they also lease on so many vehicles, and those are going electric, and they have also a lot of problems around charging. I feel like we started discovering these problems and segments through conferences and a lot of different conversations. Like we would just like go and ask people, hey, like, do you have electric vehicles in your fleet? This would be our first question. And then if they say yes, we're like, okay, like, how is it going? What are the problems that you are facing? Can you tell me a little bit about like how people are charging? And then that's kind of like where we take the conversation and learn actually how we can help, right? Like that's the number one way to not only sell, but also help the customers. Yeah.
Okay, let's focus on, this specific segment. By the way, can you share one of the names of your customers, like let's say in rental space?
Yeah.
And what are the exact problems you're solving? Like what didn't work for them before, you came?
Rental is not a good start point, but it helps a lot to understand the people who's using Bluedot day to day, which is drivers. And when you compare rental versus not rental, we work with the government, autonomous car companies like government city of San Francisco, one of our clients. We work with the automakers, Rivian. They're using Bluedot for their mobile service team all the time when you need help on the way. We are working with the autonomous car companies, which is one of them is a Way, the other one is a Evride. We were trying to understand who needs help on the road for the public charging, because one of our biggest value prop was a public charging all the time. And after that, when we talked with our customer, we understood they're using different type of chargers at the home, depot, and the public. And we said, okay, if we saw the public charging with the rental car case, which is one of the hardest case, we said, let's go deep into dive for the home charging reimbursement, because all of our corporate company was saying, we want to charge at the home to decrease our cost of the charging. We were saying charging still cheaper than the gas, and and they were saying we want to increase our operation efficiency too, because you can charge your car at the night, which means you can use all of the efficiency at the night. And we said, we should focus on the home charging reimbursement. And after that, we built one of the excellent, intelligent home charging reimbursement for the corporate companies, and we copied all the things for the government, because government was the same. And after that, we built everything on the top based on the experiences. We didn't focus on the number of the car, focus, but not mainly number of the cars or number of the drivers at the business. We focus how we can solve their problems and increase their efficiency, because most of the fleets managers are focusing on the two things. First, for sure, cost. They have to decrease all the balance sheets under the fueling. And the second thing is operation efficiency, because electric car is a different type of things in their business. Type of things means they're skeptical to think about to buy an EV, because you have to wait the line of the charging. You have to charge your vehicle 30 minutes, which means longer than the gas and the fuel. And range anxiety. No one wants to drive a car from the fleet ecosystem. They were saying, we buy an EV, but drivers don't want to use that cars. And we said, okay, let's focus on the public and the fast chargers and home charging. We were trying to make them happy first, and after that, increase the efficiency. And after that, it came back to back. Literally, we were copying all the things after one vertical to another vertical. But you can copy everything, but you cannot copy the relationship. I can pass over to both of the Selim, because when you ask someone into the fleet ecosystem who is the best team, who is the best product for the charging, you will hear the Bluedot all the time. Everybody knows the Bluedot brand and the products.
True. So, this week we had a chance to sit with you guys in front of your customers. I was very impressed by the feedback. Everyone was trying to praise you guys like the best of the best and, easy to use solutions. But that's after a few years since you entered the business. But that original sales cycle, Celine, tell us more. What it looks like, how does it feel?
Enterprise is fancy, but sales cycles.
Sales cycles,
and
long. Tell us more what it's like to sell to fleets.
Yeah, fleet is such a relational business. Like you get to, people ask each other what type of solutions that they use, what they like, and all these things. And then there's a lot of like hand holding, like while helping them. And like you wanted to understand what they care, how you can help them to be more successful. Like you work with, our main point of contact usually is like fleet managers, fleet operation leaders, like people who are taking care of these vehicles, people who will get the call when driver has a problem. So for us, it's like how we can make them more successful. So the overall thing about the fleet sales, enterprise sales, it's slow. Like things are slow. You get to understand, okay, it's going to take time. It's not going to be like small rental car companies. And once you start understanding that, you're like, okay, then I need to open up my top of funnel more. Like I need more top of funnel to warm up because things are going to warm up. Like we know we're investing in a relationship. We know that like it's gonna pay off. And knowing that, I think what we did is like, without differentiating number of drivers, number of vehicles, we were like, we want to understand what is top of mind for these people. And we want to get to meet. We want to kind of like set that relationship up for success. And like, honestly, I remember I went to this conference and I was like, oh, my goal is to get to know a lot more like fleet managers who have EVs. And I was like, actually, that's cool, but I also get to know like people, who are these people, what they care about. Like, I think people miss this a lot, but when you're selling to the enterprises, like people do business with people, right? Like that's a big element. Like sometimes you have so many more alternatives. We did not have, like we were actually one of the best. So it was like definitely easier to sell a product that is a category winner.
Easier to sell, but hard to understand what we are building. Education was
important
because electric vehicle is disrupting the gas ecosystem, which means 1,000 years, like 100 years experience in the it was hard. And after that moment, you have to push all the walls and break the dinosaur ecosystem, which is fuel cards. A lot of people was fan of the fuel cards because fuel card was helping to buy gas from anywhere else when you want to like fuel your fuel, but EV ecosystem was fragmented. That's why they were skeptical to buy from the startup. We were like super younger, like when we started, and we were we were attending the old events, and we were the youngest people, and we were the viral company all the time, which means, yes, it's easier to sell sometimes, but it's so hard to tell what we are building.
Yeah, that's why we did a lot of education. Like last year, I volunteered at one of the like biggest fleet organizations called AFLA to create their EV sustainability hub with a team, a resources team, which is an amazing team. I have like really good friends from that team. And then we come up with this EV sustainability resources hub where like anybody can actually go and take the course. We interview with a lot of fleet managers to understand how they think about electrification, how they charge the vehicles, how they charge at home for their drivers, how they charge at public, what is the depot charging look like for fleet. So we created a lot of resources, and this was like part of this organization. But apart from that, one of our biggest effort was always like, okay, what type of like case studies that we can create? What type of like policy? Like we wrote a home charging reimbursement policy for our fleets.
I sat down with politician on the table to decide how we can democratize the public charging for everybody. Literally, as a 26 years old guy, working with the like very, very old people to understand their approach about the electric vehicle. Because from my perspective, everything is super simple on the table because we were democratizing with the OCP. But when you look at from their perspective, it was so hard and they were super skeptical. And we were, as a startup, we were trying to push all the walls in the politician tables. Like we work with the Department of the Energy, Transportation. She joined to the like fintech ecosystem to tell like different technology about the EV because you cannot use your credit card on the Tesla chargers. They don't have a like device on it. Like we tried to push all the walls to create the better ecosystem for everybody, not just for us. And it was the hardest things that I have done with the Bluedot, to be honest, because I was not thinking to sit down with the like politicians to tell what we are doing.
I'm guessing, that was quite a journey. So obviously, pivoting, changing, convincing, selling, all of that. But at the same time, you guys had a small team and you were growing rapidly. what breaks first? What kind of things you need to be focused on when you're building your plane and taking off, essentially?
I think you need to invest a lot in support, which we did, because what breaks is usually the things that are not in your control. Like those are the things that breaks, and then you're like, okay, like what do I do? But because it's not in my ecosystem, especially for EV charging world, like one of them is the charging experience, right? Like you go to a charging station and you can't charge. And that's the number one thing that we needed to make sure that drivers have a good experience, good support. They feel like, okay, we're with them. And then they can also solve the problem and then just go to the next charging station. But especially for our business, I think because we rely on like so many different things, just making sure that like our heads like down and then we can provide the best experience, best support for our drivers.
Who is actually in charge of your support team? So who is that person who built the support backbone for Bluedot?
Yeah, we have a team member called Furkan, who is the main person when it comes to support side at Bluedot, which I work really closely with. And he was the main person who kind of like created our first like AI hub, first the version of the backbone. So he's the one.
Yeah, and now we are suddenly talking about AI. Guess what? In Silicon Valley.
For sure. For sure.
Never happened before.
Yeah.
And again. Let's focus on it a little bit. So one thing I really loved about your app is the chatbot.
Yeah.
And the fact that the chatbot is intelligent enough to be able to handle what? Like over 70% of your...
Yeah,
88.
Yeah.
I have an exact number. For sure, 88% is going with AI. Thank you, Intercom. A little bit ads, but yeah, for sure. We picked the right solution for our people, because we are not building a pure SaaS company. We are not a pure software company, because we are touching the hardware, which means people at the location to charge their vehicle, which means if they cannot charge the vehicle, burden is like becoming to the bigger things on the table, which means you have to handle everything on the like safe position. For sure, we picked the right solution with our like intelligent knowledge base, because we were feeding the intercom to create the intelligent solution for the people. And we were using chatbot for our education too. Celine mentioned we were educating the fleet with a different way, but we couldn't forget the drivers. They are taking the car first time. Sometimes they don't know what's the plug types, what is the pace.
They ask these type of questions.
Yeah. And we feed all of our intercom with that knowledge by Furkan all the time and with our support people. And yeah, AI helped a lot to close 88% of the solution, like problems.
And also sometimes Farhat too. Like,
beginning of journey, we
were like in the loop at the same time. We're like, I think being close to the tickets, the customers is really important. And like we trust Furkan so much, and like having him there was really important for us. And I remember like time to time he would come into intercom, like I'd try to understand what type of questions comes, like how he can answer.
It helped me a lot to
understand
build
problems
and like target the shift.
Okay, your answers are making me so happy, because Furkan is actually joining Epic Charging. So I'm glad that we have that really good support structure. But honestly, when you told me about that success rate with the AI chatbot in your app, I was very skeptical. So I use like chatbots 1 million times.
People hate chatbots.
And people hate chatbots. But the first thing I did, I took the app, I went to a charging station, I plugged in, it started charging, and then I had an issue. And I said, hey, you know what? I will test that feature, and
all
the time. So opened it up and started texting. And you know what? After like a couple of exchanges, I got all my answers. I was very impressed. I know there is a handover process in place when you're stuck with the bot. You have real people behind the chatbot who can take that chat and they can resolve issues manually. And I was waiting for that moment to happen. But in fact,
human all the time.
Yeah. Say hello, Furkan. Sure. I'm in trouble. But actually, the chat was really, really
good.
Because
we read more than millions message to build that intelligence. And we helped more than like 10,000 different type of people, because every everybody has a different education level and like tech savviness all the time. For sure, you are working with a different type of people, but you have to answer all of the question with their way. And we educated all of our staff based on that. And yeah, like all of the like when you go with our customers, they will say support is the best things, and that's why we didn't churn. Like it's not happening all the time during the startup life. We didn't churn with our enterprises or like other people, which is our best things to do that.
Excellent. Well, we will stay on the AI topic. We're not going anywhere. So,
For sure.
any other AI features in your product?
Oh, route planner. That was my big bet. No, like everybody was skeptical, first of all, Celine, because yeah, for sure. Like when we started to build some things, everybody was asking, how can I go to the chargers? And route planner was the biggest things in my mind to build internally, because you can find a different APIs, you can use Google for something else. But I was thinking how we can use AI to connect some dots between car data and the like usage of the charging station, because availability is a key point, battery level is another key point. People was not connecting the dots because of the data. We had a data, and I was saying, guys, can we put the data on the table to build in AI route planner, in-app AI route planner without someone's? And we did with the OpenAI. We use a lot of tokens to build the right things, but we were still in the beginning of the journey. We have a lot of different use cases on the table to solve it, but it was a good start to put the vehicle data and the charging data at the same time. And most of our corporate and mobile service teams using than the like rental car cases and the other stuff, because rental car has a different use case about the like long distance, but in city corporate companies loves a lot, but still we have too much way to like add more different use cases. For example, right now we are getting, can you add the cheaper options? Can you add the like fastest way to charge? Because right now we are just calculating A to B with your vehicle data, but we can add different stuff on the way with our AI.
What's the AI model behind the route planner?
Right now, two things, like 3 model is working on it. First, we are getting the data from the vehicle to calculate how much miles that you can go with that battery level based on the models and make. That's important. And the second thing is geofence. We are searching every single charging station based on your location with your battery data. And the third thing is the weather that we are using to calculate the best options. And fourth bonus, we are using availability data of the charging stations, because when you hit the location, that station should be available. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't wait for something else. But everything's running on the OpenAI right now that we build for our people. And we are not using any third-party tools. I'm glad to do that because it's still expensive and still not doing best thing. But yeah, with the AI, it's getting closer.
Excellent. Let me ask Celine.
Yeah.
Do you think, like on the scale from 1 to 10, how successful is the route planner? No, I know like you were skeptical in the beginning.
Yeah.
A lot.
I think when we first started, maybe it was 4, maybe like 3.5 and 4. Because
less than 3, I'm pretty sure.
The models were not that good too. I haven't used it for a while, by the way, the route planner itself, because of my skepticism for a while.
Yeah.
But I'm sure with the models improving, I think it would be like a really top notch, because the models on the back is changing. I remember there was a time that like we would talk about, oh, we had so many data, like, but AI can't handle this much of contacts and all these things. And now I think we're hitting at a point that, because all these AI companies, the labs are just putting so much effort, and the product itself is just like, improving. Like, that's the beauty of, I feel like, just building AI products. Like sometimes like when there's a new model and then your full product is just like improved by like maybe 10x. So I'm sure it will continue improving as the models are getting better and then can do more things.
Shifting gears, why Epic and why now?
Of course, when you start some things, you are not thinking to sell your company. It was the hardest moment ever in my life, I can say, to decide to acquire by someone. When we decided to do that, we were thinking how we can create bigger puzzle with the company, not just to be part of their puzzle, which means we were not trying to sell our company to the fuel car companies because they have an umbrella and they have their card for the charging station, which means we cannot impact anything on their business and we cannot impact for our customers. And we didn't want to do that. We think how we can create a bigger picture, bigger puzzle for our customer, client, like investors, and for us, for our team. And Epic was building very good product for the charging management part that we didn't do that and that we were not thinking about to build in the short term. For sure, long term, everybody was trying to put the one product for everything. That was on our in our idea, but we were not thinking in the short term. And you are really talented people, and you're one of the best solution in the market. And we have had some common connections, including our customers. And we said it can be interesting. ? Because as I mentioned, we were not thinking to sell our company, but when we felt we can create bigger puzzle for the ecosystem with the one product. And I said, okay, let's think a little bit seriously, but maybe Celine can give a different perspective.
For me, like two things. One is I remember the first time that we met and I was like, I really like them. Like I like you guys as like a person, but also I was like, they're smart. They're like, they just get things done. And like, and then
a little bit faster than fleets.
Yeah. And then they're building something meaningful that I think is going to be like quite big. So I think that was one big aspect. And then two, I think we saw like the clear synergies around what we did, what we have built, what you guys have been building, and then what else can be true with that combination. And that was actually one of the reasons that got me quite excited about this next chapter.
That was an assumption just a few weeks ago. I think you probably came into this with an assumption that we will have like complementary products, which we can probably put together as one package and see how that's going to work. And then we had a bunch of meetings this week and just like the first call and they're like, hey, sure, we also have a bunch of chargers that we need to manage.
And we have also a big pipeline that just needed that product. So it's exciting.
To be honest, I didn't feel shock about it because everybody has a charger. That's why I said that puzzle can create a bigger picture for I cared my clients more than everything with the Celine. We were just thinking how we can save our clients' lives and make them happy after that acquisition too. Because like we are working with the Fortune 500 companies in the ecosystem, which means it's so hard to sell. It's so hard to maintain all the things on the way. And the second thing is market is growing. Who can take that train for us? Because our brand will live under the Epic, but Bluedot will be like alive and Bluedot will go on with the right people. That was our thing all the time for our clients.
You know, guys, you're staying still with the product, with the company as advisors.
Yeah.
And let me use this opportunity just to get your maybe first advice. Let's say on the product side, you know the components now. We spoke with a few customers, not all of them, but I think we pretty much get the idea where the market is going.
Yeah.
So what will be your recommendation for the next 12 months, 18 months on the product side, business development side? It's already decided we're going to keep the Bluedot brand and probably the product will evolve. But now just put your, product guy hat and tell us where we need to go.
Maybe I need to start from the generalist side. Talk to customer was one of the secret sauce all the time as a CEO, as a product guy of our company, because I was joining all of the customer calls, or I was attending my agent to listen what's going on the customer calls all the time. I was not trying to skip that type of meetings. That helps me a lot to understand what I want to build for the next. And when you look at the mid and the long-term plan, we have to focus on, we solve the problem of the different type of chargers with the Bluedot, but they are building it, they're installing the chargers for their depot, the home, how we can add that chargers into the ecosystem to create bigger and the all-in-one solution for fleets who has the chargers to open the public, because we were trying to open the chargers to public, which means if you're installing chargers for your depot, you can share it with everybody. And that type of business models can evolve and can go be bigger in our ecosystem. And the third things, I am a big fan of the autonomous car companies and autonomous vehicles, and I'm seeing very, very big opportunities there. Most probably after 5 years, not the short-term plan, after 5 years, we will not see the drivers to charge the vehicle, and they will install thousands charger for their depot that they are doing right now too. We have to focus on that type of business model for our next generation fleets, because most of the fleets will not hire the people to drive the car.
I think for business perspective, like how we become the brand that like once fleets need charging, anything charging, like we're like, okay, top of mind. We want to ask Epic. That's like my like number one focus. And then the other thing I would say, there's so much opportunity in the charging world. Like we have a huge country, like we have a lot of land. We need to build more charging station. And I think like as we create that brand, like I'm really excited to focus on the places that matter the most, right? Like we work with fleets. Those are the backbone of like American economy, like one of the backbones. Like they drive everywhere, they do work for us, and we're gonna see more trucks also getting electrified. There's gonna be a lot of potentials there. So I think one would be around the brand itself, and then the two, the Epic product is pretty solid today. Like it works with like so many enterprise names, so many like companies that everybody knows. And I think like how we take that and then create something like a package that, okay, like, oh, I need this, I need that too. And then we actually got you covered. So, bundling those connections will be a key thing for us to think about.
Selling a company is a huge milestone. What's next?
To be honest, like after 4 years, for sure, it's huge as a 26 years old, like 27 years old guy. But I am super obsessed about the vehicle, and I will stay in touch in that ecosystem all the time as an advisor of the Bluedot and friends of the Epic for sure. I'm not thinking what I want to build for next or join someone else or like whatever, but for sure I will stay in touch. And startup is a like venom of the like body and entrepreneurship. Most probably I will use that venom for my next things. And I learned a lot of things from the Bluedot that I can rebuild some things again. But first time that I'm feeling with my family, with my friends, with my investors, and I'm glad to feel that like feelings. But still I'm thinking what I want to do next. Yeah.
That's the question that everybody asks right now.
Everybody.
Like, what is next?
Someone is trying to convince to join like another things or build another stuff, but
my WhatsApp is like full of messages.
All right,
like that.
let's say when dust settles, we'll probably have another round of discussions, maybe another podcast or things like that, and we'll discuss your next big thing, maybe in the automotive world, maybe in charging, maybe somewhere else. But for now, welcome to the Epic Charging family. I'm very excited to have you on board. You built a great product. We see the excitement from your customers and how they talk about you, how they talk about things you've done. Congratulations. It's a big thing. Thank you so much.
We are so excited to build something bigger together too.
Yeah. We're proud what we have built with the team that we had, and really excited for the next chapter of Epic. It's gonna be epic.
Love it. Cheers.